What's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be workshopping this track to completion or finishing the arrangement. And I'm going to be showing you some new workflow tips. So I have this reference track here by August. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And I'm following the energy curve of his track, but I've used my own sounds and my own arrangement. So let's listen to the track first and then we'll workshop it to completion.
Lift up your mind. Lift up your mind. Lift up your mind.
To find purpose in life, it's a funny one. I do believe we're destined for great things. What do I know?
Lift up your mind. Lift up your mind.
So the entire track is actually built around this vocal here.
Lift up your mind.
And I liked the piano progression as well. I play both.
Lift up your mind.
So this piano is from Splice actually. It's a Splice instrument, intimate grand piano. I should actually technically, this should be filtered more so that the vocals can actually come through. So it'll probably sound better like this.
Lift up your mind.
Because we don't need all those high frequencies, to be honest. Also that instrument, maybe if I just do this.
Lift up your mind. Your mind. Your mind.
So I'm just going to bring up the piano again. These sounds on the drop, I think it sounds cleaner with them, basically with the filter on. If I open it, okay, that's got its own filter on. So keep the vocal going throughout the drop. I actually think it should filter out a bit less because we've muted the other instruments. We've added a filter to the other instruments. The percussions are actually quite complicated in this as well, so they're going to need some filtering. Okay, there's too much going on there. I'm initially just going to add this here. Probably too much high end on that as well. So the idea is I'm just making space for the vocal. And then from here, I'm just going to save this. We need to continue the arrangement. So this artist, if we listen to the reference, so it sounds completely different, but I'm copying the energy curve. So they have a really long second breakdown. So we need to figure out how to do that. But if we now listen to this.
Lift up your mind. Lift up your mind. Lift up your mind. Lift up your mind.
They tell you to find a purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're destined to great things. What do I know?
Lift up your mind. Lift up your mind. Your mind. Your mind.
That scared the shit out of me. I don't know what that was. What the fuck? What's happened to that sound? I don't know what's happened to that sound. What the? Something's happened to this sound. I don't know what it is. I think this sync has been turned up somehow. So weird. Okay. Better. So the reference Seems like they have the chords continuing to play. Notice how they're filtered out as well. Their composition is a more clubby arrangement. This is more experimental. So I'm just going to listen to this section of our beat. So I think it doesn't really work. Breakdown. So basically the whole breakdown in the reference is teasing the high energy part. He's got like vocals coming in and out. He's got the chords filtered. He's still got some of his percussion playing as well, which is mirroring the stab groove, which we don't have in our track because this is more of a harmonic kind of, this is the main riff, melodic riff from the piano. So I'm thinking I can either bring this vocal back in, which would be boring. I can bring this one back in. So I'm going to do that. Spoken word thing. Let's hear this. Then this can open up.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're destined to great things. They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're destined to great things.
Sort this out. Bring it back in. Like that.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're destined to great things.
Sound lift up your mind.
So I think in keeping with the theme from this break, we can do some crazy instrumental stuff, and I'll show you the workflow that I have now with Suno Studio, which is insane. So if I export this section that we're struggling with, I'm just going to make sure that the drop it goes back to the drop. We go here like that, and it's just like that again. If I add interest here, just do that. I think that vocal may get a bit boring if it's repeated throughout the whole track, but it's okay. So if I take this breakdown, so what I'm going to do, export this to desktop. I'm going to find the folder. Oh shit. Okay, could ignore that. So I've got Suno Studio open here. If I import I'm still learning how to use this, but basically you go here, and this is the section that we were struggling with. I know it's at 122, which matches this same length.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're all destined for great things.
Okay, so we now have the breakdown in Suno Studio, and what you can do is you can just press add track. And I think how it works is you can like drag it. So if I drag this, and then you can put styles. Say I want a crescendo, uplifting, crescendo, tense, orchestral strings, building up to drop. So essentially you can just use your imagination. You're only limited by your imagination now. So in this breakdown section, I can just imagine up whatever instruments I want. I can just draw them in to the grid, and then that's your beat block is just solved pretty much. So let's see what it comes up with. So this is a really useful tool. You can obviously rewrite these parts with your own plugins. You can hire different people to do it with real instruments and stuff. So for me, this is like game changing. This is really, really impressive stuff. So let's see what it does here. Version 2.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one.
Sound lift up your mind. Sound lift up your mind.
So I like the end.
Sound
See version 1.
sound
I think I actually prefer this one.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're all destined for great things.
lift up your mind.
That's hard.
Sound lift up your mind.
So you see what I mean? Like, this is so powerful. So I can just dream up different instruments. I can just dream up different instruments here. Let's do. Something like this. Like, I recreate this one if it sounds good in the serum. I really like the sound of. So basically, in the future, you're only going to be limited by the sounds that you've studied and that you know, and then your prompting ability. So the way that production is going to change is going to be really huge in the future. So it's going to be a mix of using your DAW to come up with the idea, then working with AI tools to like have the vision, and then whoever's got the most advanced vision, whoever's got the most crazy ideas and can execute on them will win in the next 10 years. And I think it's actually going to be really exciting, to be honest. Because if you know how to produce as well, then the world is going to be your oyster. So this is not lazy prompting. This is actually using the AI creatively as it's meant to be used, in my opinion. So let's see what it's come up with here.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're all destined for great things.
Sound lift up your mind. Sound lift up your mind. Sound lift up your mind.
I think because it doesn't have context for the actual drop, doesn't know when the drop happens, which was my mistake. So if I actually left the drop in over here, then it would know to build up to that point, but it doesn't. So that's why that bit sounded a bit weird. But it still sounds cool though, in my opinion. Problem is sometimes the instruments bleed out. they interact with each other. So the prompt doesn't give you a clean output. So this has obviously got some strings inside of it as well, which is not what I prompted. This is like a hybrid instrument. That basically sounds like a string instrument. So I think version 1. To be honest, I don't know what's going on there.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're all destined for great things.
So let's say that we're going to use this for the breakdown. So what I can do is I can basically, so I'm still learning this tool, but I think you press multi-track. Then I'll edit it inside the DAW, refine it. But you've seen how you can quickly get out a beat block now with these tools. So if I go into it's called breakdown. I'm going to export it. So if I add these tracks now, so I think the strings are not going to work unless I edit them a little bit. So at that initial section, I couldn't hear the vocal at all. Let's keep these filtered. The first bit, they can come in.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're all destined for great things.
vocal does get boring in the second part of that drop down. Second drop.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe in all destiny's great things. Tiny one.
So the issue is we've lost the main idea, the main theme of the track. So the problem is if you're doing this, you may get overwhelmed with the amount of options. So when you're working on these kind of tracks, you need to retain the core essence of what you're working on, which in this example was the piano and the vocal. So I need to make sure that the piano and the vocal are still center stage in the second track. Okay, that sounds good. Let's just do some more experimenting with the prompting thing. So if I take all of this and I put this as if I save it like that. But if I delete this, if we delete all of this stuff, now if I add the new one, wanted that sound, the duduk, the duduk, to still be playing. I've not actually tried the vocal thing yet. The vocal, backing vocals. Try that.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're destined for great things. Do I do?
Sound of your mind. Sound of your mind.
So it's done the backing vocals at the start. So that's cool. But the actual instrument that I wanted sounds a bit. Sounds a bit too bassy. If I delete these, I don't know how to use this software, to be honest. It's better. Sounds a bit messed up. You still have to obviously do a lot of editing with this software. It's not 100% perfect. I just want to see what the backing vocals sound like throughout the rest of the breakdown. So I think the future of production is going to be more like being a conductor in a infinite orchestra where you have access to every single instrument, and it's going to be the winner will be who has the best marketing, who has the best distribution, and who has the best taste and vision for their tracks. And as you can see, this hybrid structure with the DAW and the AI working as the orchestrator between them and just using your ideas and picking the best results. that's a powerful position to be in as a producer. And we're gonna develop this workflow more and more on this channel. This is all new stuff. This is new to me. I only started using this today. So I think with AI, there's creative uses and there's lazy uses. And I think prompting one sentence to write a whole track is very lazy. But if you're intentionally putting in a lot of thought into your tracks and using the AI to solve your issues, like arrangement issues, I think that's a good thing. I think that's something that's going to speed up creation. It's going to help creatives to get out of their stuck patterns. And I think that's good. I think it's a useful thing.
They tell you to find purpose in life.
So lift in your mind. Silent, silent on your silent. Silent on your mind.
So this one didn't actually work. I just turned that off. Let's listen to this.
They tell you to find purpose in life.
So as I said before, the only limit is your imagination. If I put in virtuoso, violin, solo here, for example, it will come up with an idea. And so I think producers are going to get more innovative with the style of with the arrangement of the productions. Especially, I'm quite interested to see what electronic producers come up with. Because as you can hear, the breakdowns can get really crazy with this technology. Needs a bit of EQ. I think that violin section is quite strong.
They tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe in destiny's great things.
You have to be careful not to get carried away though, because as you heard in that section, the backing vocals have generated a drum track as well. So this AI hallucinates all the time. You need to be careful of that. I just want to see what it does in this section if I prompt it. But yeah, you can see that's crazy, the violin it came up with here. Not sure why this isn't working. Maybe because it's muted. Don't really know what's going on there. Maybe a new track. Much. Let's take these stems and I'm gonna leave it there. I think this track's basically done. Then it's just leveling and then exporting it, making an ad and running ads to it. So it doesn't have to be perfectionist anymore with making music. If I take these, if I click on it, nothing in that one. I don't know what this one was. So we don't need that. This one needs the low end taken out. And probably needs side chaining.
You're mine, you're mother. Yeah. You're mine, you're mother. You're mine, you're mine, you're mother. Ooh,
It's actually not actually saying any words. It's kind of weird.
yeah. You're mine.
It bugged.
You're
should be the outro. Oh, he keeps it going. Yeah, hopefully you've learned how to do some referencing in this video as well. You don't have to copy the actual sounds of the track. You can just use it for energy management and to map your arrangement. And with AI workflows now, it's much easier, as I just showed you. So it's getting late. I think we're going to leave it here. We're going to listen through the whole thing again. Maybe from...
To find purpose in life, it's a funny one. I do believe we're all destined for great things. What do I know? Tell you to find purpose in life. It's a funny one. I do believe we're all destined for great things. What do I know? Let the sound lift up your mind. Let the sound lift up your mind. Tell you to find purpose in life.
Right, that sounds good to me. I think this track is done. Ready for final polish now, which will just be basically leveling. I don't overthink my mixes. I think overthinking mixing is a real error that a lot of people make. I think every day you have new ideas, you have new tools to experiment with. As we showed today, we have new ideas, new content ideas. You should keep pushing forward and not get stuck at the mixing stage or mastering stage. Just release it, see what happens, and then keep moving on and improving your production ability. That's the main thing. So hopefully you found this workflow interesting and useful. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.